15 times in your speech. What about the people who have worked all of their lives, paid into the state, pensioners? How can you justify taking away up to £300 from those formerly working people?
Well, it's tough. And I think the first thing to say is, and to explain, is why we had to do it. We inherited a really damaged economy. We did an audit and we discovered an undisclosed £22 billion black hole this year, which we have to fix.
That black hole includes public sector pay rises.
Well, the last government set up the pay review bodies for the public sector. It knew that they would come back with about £9 billion worth of recommendations. Some of those recommendations came back and the government put them on the desk and didn't deal with them. They ran away.
Okay.
But they allocated 0 pence towards that settlement. That is not the way to run the economy. So I'm not going to accept this challenge that somehow by paying that, because there's a £22 billion black hole. We have to deal with it this year because we need to stabilise the economy.
Why do pensioners have to pay, Prime Minister?
Please hear me out. If we stabilise the economy, which we're determined to do, that means that we can absolutely commit, as we do, and I do again to you this morning, we commit to the triple lock, which means that for pensioners, this year an extra £900, next year an extra £460, because I want to make sure that every pensioner is better off under Labour. But we can only do that if we stabilise the economy. At the same time, as you'd expect, we're trying to get as many pensioners as possible onto pension credit, which means the winter fuel payments is covered. And, of course, they get the pension credit, which is really important. The reason we had to do this is because of the black hole left by the previous government.
But you had choices. And you chose to do it. You didn't have to do it, you chose to do it.
£22 billion of money is a huge amount to find in a year.
Yeah.
But by leaving it, not doing it, in my view, we ran the risk of losing control of the economy. And if there's one thing which, in my view, has hit pensioners harder than anything in the last few years, it's when inflation went through the roof, because the last government lost control of the economy. I'm not going to let that happen to pensioners ever again.
I want to introduce you to Chrissy. She's a pensioner who's a regular viewer of Good Morning Britain. She has got in touch with us. She was an NHS nurse for 25 years. She's on the full state pension, which puts her just a few pounds over the threshold for pension credit.
Yep.
She's about to lose her winter fuel allowance. She has arthritis. She estimates her fuel bills are about to go up by £40 a month this winter, and she is dreading it because she does not feel she's going to be able to put the heating on. She voted for you, but she feels let down. Would you like to take this opportunity to say sorry to pensioners like Chrissy?
Well, I am really concerned that we've been put in this position. When you inherit an economy with £22 billion missing, it is a really difficult set of choices. But what I don't want to do is to allow the economy to run out of control. What I want to make sure is that every single pensioner, there is that increase through the triple lock each and every year, £460 next year because of the triple lock. We have to take that action, but I also have to fix the NHS. And talking to pensioners, so many of them want the NHS to work properly because they're dependent on it.
I just want to stick with this point about pensioners like Chrissy. And I asked you, would you like to take this opportunity to say sorry to voters who voted for you, like Chrissy, pensioners who are about to lose hundreds this winter because of your choices?
What I'd say to Chrissy is this. I absolutely promised that we would stabilise the economy to make sure we never had the economy getting out of control again. We then discovered £22 billion missing.
Okay, so you've mentioned the £22 billion a couple of times. You have also pointed out the full
it is the single reason we've had to take this decision.
But I would repeat, you did have choices. The full state pension rises by, as you say, £460, April 2025. The According to analysis by a former pensions minister, Steve Webb, it needs to rise by £250 just to keep up with the inflation that has eaten into what people have. So that means that the real increase for pensioners is only £210. If someone's losing £300 in winter fuel payments, they're going to be worse off, aren't they?
Well, there's no point in the last government lecturing us about inflation. We are going to stabilise the economy, make sure it's controlled, and make sure the triple lock can be kept to. But we are also going to fix the NHS.
But sorry, do you acknowledge the fact that a pensioner who gets £300 winter fuel payment and loses it is actually going to be worse off under Labour? Not, as you promised in your speech, better off.
Well, the way to deal with that is to get inflation down. The way to get inflation down is to make sure we've stabilised the economy. That is precisely why we are doing this, to make sure that the overall money coming in for pensioners is more than it otherwise would have been,
okay,
and to make sure and to be clear that they'll all be better off under Labour.
Just because I've asked you a couple of times and you have just skirted around it, I did ask, would you like to take this opportunity to say sorry to the pensioners who feel hurt and less well off, certainly not better off, because you've taken away their winter fuel allowance? Would you like to say sorry?
The people who should be saying sorry are the last government who left a hole of £22 billion. And they should be sorry for that. They should apologise for that.
So you're not going to apologise?
I've come in to fix the mess, fix the problems, and that's tough, really tough decisions. The cost of not doing it is to run the risk that we lose control of the economy again. I'm not going to do that, because if I do, you will be saying to me in 2 or 3 years' time, if we lose control of the economy, will you now say sorry for having lost control of the economy? So that the apology needs to come from the last government who left such a mess, £22 billion black hole. We can't walk past it. It's a huge amount of money. And if we don't stabilise the economy, we can't keep to the triple lock. And the triple lock is really important for every pensioner, because that is the increase year on year. As I say, £900
we've only got
£460 next year.
A couple of minutes left, and people will notice you have not said sorry for making a difficult choice. You had the opportunity to, but you haven't said sorry for making what is, people acknowledge, a difficult choice.